How about that opener last night between the Chiefs and the Ravens? Let's hope all the other games this first NFL weekend are just as good. We're going to preview the week one slate. My man, Cole Thompson, who covers the NFL, is going to join me. It's the Jake Asman Football Show, and it starts right now.
Oh, yeah. It's the Jake Asman Football Show. Brought to you by BetUS. Sign up now and triple your bonus. That's 125%. Now let's get into some NFL football. Presented by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. And here's your host, Jake Asman.
That's right. We are indeed presented by BetUS. And how about this? If you sign up for BetUS, they're offering a 150% bonus on your first three deposits up to $2,000. Use the code YouTube150, YouTube150 for a 150% bonus just announced, brand new ahead of week one of the NFL season. Joining me right now is someone who was on our show not that long ago when I was out in Las Vegas. His name is Cole Thompson, and he joins the program. Cole, you are the first recurring guest in the history of the Jake Asman Football Show. Welcome back.
That's exactly what I want to hear, Jake Asman. I want to be the first recurring guest, and more importantly, I want to just let everyone know the season's over after last night. Unfortunately, you gave Patrick Mahomes a cheat code. You, as Jet fans out there, are allowed to complain as much as you want to Buffalo for giving that man Xavier Worthy. But it was a good game last night. We can all agree that the NFL season is back, and we're excited for what's happening in 2024.
Yeah, I mean, let's start with the game, of course, last night. Great game, back and forth. You know, the Ravens come out and they go down the field and score, and you're thinking, all right, this is interesting. And then it just kind of felt like the Ravens offense was very discombobulated for a lot of it. First off, the penalties at the beginning of this game was ridiculous. Thank you to the NFL refs for reminding us they're still as bad as ever, making it about them. But, you know, I thought Lamar was awesome last night, just giving them a chance because he was under pressure a lot. He had to use his legs a ton. My big takeaway, though, when the game was on the line and he needed to make some plays from the pocket, there were back-to-back throws where the likely one in the corner, you could say, hey, tough throw, but you got to make it if you're the MVP. Then the one to Zay Flowers where he just missed him. So I know he came through with the likely throw where his toes out of bounds at the end, but like that to me is the biggest difference between Lamar and Mahomes. Like when the game's on the line, I just trust Mahomes more in the pocket to come through and make the play. And Lamar was great last night with an O-line that was with three new starters. He's doing all he could with his sheer athleticism, but yeah, I just trust Mahomes more in those spots, and I think we saw it again last night.
I think the big takeaway is that you're seeing a completely attentive defense from Kansas City. That does not get enough respect when we talk about them. The last 2 years, it just feels like Steve Spagnuolo has turned the crank up to 1,000. They are corralling quarterbacks into making mistakes. They're playing blanketed coverage. I thought they did a really nice job without L'Jarius Sneed, who now is out in Tennessee, being able to blanket not just Rashad Bateman and Zay Flowers, but also tight end play. Mark Andrews was basically immobile most of the night. And I think that you brought up a really good point. When Lamar had to deliver, it just never felt like he was comfortable. And again, overreactions are a big deal, but you watch as there's going to be some miscommunication from Kansas City's offense, and you say, well, you still saw the explosive play from Rashee Rice. You still saw the explosive plays from Xavier Worthy. You know they have a good 1-2 combination in the backfield headlined by Isaiah Pacheco. They still have a security blanket at Travis Kelce at tight end. Justin Watson had a really big play. Even when it felt like that there was a lot of downtime or missed throws from Patrick Mahomes, he never felt like he was taking the pressure. He never felt like that he was under duress. And you got to admit that this is also a Ravens offensive line that's replacing 3 starters, which is a big deal. You had cohesion for years, and now you're basically asking 3 new dudes to play in a standard of physical smash mouth football. It may take some time. It also may just be not the Ravens' year. We watched regression after Lamar won his first MVP in 2019. We could see the same thing happen in 2024. What I really took away, though, was Kansas City's defense is legit. If you want to be able to have a game plan, you're not allowed to make too many mistakes because they will come back to bite you in the ass going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and look, I mean, I don't want to overreact. The Ravens are still a really good team. I think their O-line will get better as the year goes on, right? I mean, they're replacing John Simpson, Zeitler, Morgan Moses. I mean, 3 new starters is no joke. But I just think the way Lamar had to play last night, too, that's not sustainable. Like, he can't put his body on the line the entire season like that and expect to be healthy come playoff time. He even made some comments this week that if his body was feeling as good as it feels now as it felt how he was doing going into that AFC title game. He's like, we would have won. I would have been able to run and basically take over the game. So, really good game. Chiefs are the Chiefs until proven otherwise. And you're 100% right. The fact that they got Xavier Worthy, and we already saw what Andy Reid and company could do with him. I mean, it's just drives you crazy. But look, the Chiefs are trying to do something that's never been done, win the Super Bowl 3 years in a row. So I will say, I still think the Ravens are a really good team. So anyone who's doing the doom and gloom on Baltimore, let's relax. They are still outstanding. They lost to the best team in the NFL over the last half decade. There's no shame in that.
I mean, Jake, we're going to see it tonight when Green Bay takes on Philadelphia. One of these teams is taking a dub, and one of these teams is going back home with a major loss in questions, but you don't expect...
And it's a far trip back home, by the way.
I was saying, it's a 5,000-mile trip of just sit there with your thoughts and wonder what went wrong. That's a long-ass flight that I don't want to be on. But you got to realize, these are two reasons why I believe personally you see these overreactions in week one. It's fine. It happens. You're going to be able to regroup, reprocess. There's a lot to like when you look at what Baltimore did last night, especially now that they have a physical running back in Derrick Henry that's going to take a lot of pressure off of Lamar having to run. I do want Lamar to stay more in the pocket, but also that's a cohesive of the offensive line. They got to play more consistent. That will come with time. That will come with reps. That will come against live opponents where they can fully hit. It was the preseason. You see, 6 reps for starters, and then they're out for the rest of the game? Like, let's pump the brakes when it comes to Baltimore. However, how are you not impressed with Kansas City? It just feels like a wash, rinse, repeat. They doubled down on black. They hit the jackpot. They went into another casino, and they scored big by landing Xavier Worthy. They resigned all their players. Nobody felt out of place. The only player that seemed to have one false step last night was Jawan Taylor on the early false start. And besides that, it's the same identity that led them even when they weren't at home all last season. For me personally, I thought last year was your best shot to take down Kansas City. They weren't in their backyard. They had to play on the road. They had to make sure that they were on their bells and whistles, and they dismantled everybody in the process going into the fourth quarter against Kyle Shanahan, who knows how to shit the bed. Like, that's the bottom line. I look at this offense. They feel like a team that can easily go win it all, and they feel like a team that's probably going to be very hard to game plan for if they are playing in even your backyard.
We're talking with Cole Thompson, longtime NFL reporter, NFL analyst. He'll be a staple on the Jake Asman Football Show. This is Cole's second appearance since we launched the show with BetUS just a few weeks back, so we appreciate Cole joining us. And what we're going to do right now, Cole, I'm going to put up the Week 1 NFL slate. What's your favorite game on this slate here? Of course, you see some of the betting odds up there on the screen. Everyone can go over to BetUS and you can place any wager you want on any of these games. But Cole, I'll let you pick where we start here as we talk about the top matchups. What to you is the most intriguing game on the schedule here?
How about we talk about the more slept-on matchup of the week? I go Arizona at Buffalo. -6 is the line. Here's the deal. You don't know what you have at wide receiver out in Orchard Park these days. Yes, you still have Khalil Shakir. Yes, you bring in Curtis Samuels. Yes, you still have a Keon Coleman and 2 really good tight ends. But you don't have Stephon Diggs, who for the start of every season was a game changer. And the crazy part was, you look back last season at how this team played in Arizona. They're one of the best 4-win teams I've ever seen in NFL history. 5 games lost by less than 8 points. They were physical. They were dominant. They got better in the offseason by bolstering up their offensive line. I thought that they looked better by bringing in Marvin Harrison Jr. I think that Buffalo walks away with the win. Absolutely. But I'm a little salty that right now Kansas City is going to have Xavier Worthy because Buffalo decided to trade back. So I'm going to take Arizona at -6. I think they keep this thing close with the healthy Kyler Murray going deep into the fourth quarter.
Interesting. A lot of people are in on Buffalo as their survivor pick. I'll tell you what, I would probably feel more comfortable choosing a different team than Buffalo because of some of the things you're talking about. Like the Bills are kind of a little bit of a scary team. I mean, Arizona went into Philly late last year and they won. I think maybe they're a little bit under-discussed. If I had to pick a game for survivor, by the way, I would probably take Joe Burrow and the Bengals. I know Jamar Chase's status is still at this point up in the air, but they should be able to beat a bad Patriots team led by Jacoby Brissett, when the Bengals are at home in that spot. I'll give you a game I want to get your thoughts on here as we continue to look at the Week 1 slate. What are your thoughts on the Stafford Bowl Part 2? They met in the playoffs last year. Rams going back to Detroit to take on Jared Goff and the Lions. That game's on Sunday Night Football. other than, my team, Jets Niners, that to me is the game I think I'm the most excited to watch because it was such a good game when they met in the playoffs last year.
How the hell are you not excited to watch this game? You watched as these two went down to the wire. You heard the revenge tour from not just Jared Goff, but also from everyone that decided to join the staff. You hear afterwards in the post game, you're good enough for Detroit. Dan Campbell rallying the troops. And also, this is a really good team that got better in the offseason. Honestly, top to bottom, they bettered their defensive line. They bettered their front seven. They also got really good in the secondary with guys like Ennis Rakestraw and Terrion Arnold. So they feel like a complete team. I believe that this is the best team in the NFC moving into 2024. I think that their offensive line is the top notch in the NFL. I think that they have a great 1-2 combination in the backfield with David Montgomery that honestly gets slept on more often than not. Plus with the versatility of Jahmyr Gibbs. And then you got that 3 passing attack with Jamison Williams fully healthy and ready to go. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Sam Laporta, who broke out last season. Jared Goff does not get enough respect for how he plays the game. I don't think that this defense gets enough respect in the front seven. They are going to be legit this year. I think that even though you look at what was added in by Los Angeles, they did a good job. You bring in Jared Verse, you bring in Braden Fisk. It feels like that combination might be enough to help you replace the departure of what is one of the greatest defensive players we have seen in a hot minute and probably in the history of the NFL and Aaron Donald. I just wonder if they're going to have enough with Matthew Stafford, who did not have a full healthy offseason. I'm going to go ahead and say that you easily take that 3.5 point line with it being at Ford Field. Give me Detroit to walk away with the dub. And more importantly, this is a game where I think that much like last year, they make a statement about who they are in the NFC.
Here's a team I think is on upset alert, and it's not a huge upset. I like the Jaguars to win week 1. I think the Jaguars are very underrated. They were 8-3 last year before Trevor Lawrence went down. I think Miami having that hot weather factor earlier in the year, it's not a big factor when you're playing another team that's in Florida, in Jacksonville. So what do you think of that? I think the Jaguars are being slept on. I don't know if they're going to go on a run to a Super Bowl, but we're 2 years removed from this team winning a playoff game. They have a Super Bowl winning head coach. They paid Trevor Lawrence the bag. I like their offseason with some of the moves they made. I know everyone's anointing the Texans, and I'll get your thoughts on that Texans-Colts matchup, considering you're based in Houston in a second. But I think the Jaguars are a team that not enough people are discussing. It wouldn't shock me if they go into Miami and maybe pull off the week 1 upset. It's not a big upset. It's like 3 points. But still, your thoughts on the Jaguars-Miami game?
Jake, you and I are good friends. I respect your opinion. You are completely wrong on this opinion. Without a doubt, Miami, I think, is going to roll all over Jacksonville in this game. And mainly because I just don't see where you look at this offensive line. It didn't get any better in the offseason. They just felt like they duplicated down and decided, we'll run it back, and now we'll go get Brian Thomas Jr., and we'll go out in another wide receiver like a Gabe Davis that probably will catch one 50-yard pass and then drop a 10-yard slant route. That's how I feel about Jacksonville. They're a team that I want to believe in. I do believe that they are better than what they are moving forward. I do believe that Trevor Lawrence is vastly slept on, and naturally, it was the right move by the organization to pay him before he got really expensive next offseason. But it just feels like Tua has the right pieces. It feels like the offense is humming at the right time. Tyreek Hill, for the first usual games of the season, likes to go ahead and go off. I think they will be better on the offensive line. I think that you have that rushing attack now throwing Jalen Wright into the mix just for fun. They didn't need him, but they want him, so they said, screw it. I think this is going to be one of those games where you feel like maybe in the first quarter it's close, and then Miami starts running away with it. I absolutely think that they win by double digits.
Interesting. So we're going to make our 3 favorite picks towards the end of the show. But that's not one of mine, but I do like Jacksonville in that spot. So we disagree there. Hey, shout out to Rat Diddy, who gives us a super chat here. He writes in and says, Cole, great meeting you at the Legacy Club in Vegas. Looking forward to Friday. Bet US talk this year. Love the Jags upset alert pick, Jake. Rat, you're the man, dude. Great to always connect with you, my friend. It was awesome to see you in Vegas not that long ago. And Rat was a part of our big fantasy league. Fantasy draft the other night, Cole. It was a lot of fun, man.
Did you get who'd you get from the Jets?
I think I ended up, I'm trying to think, I'm in 3 leagues, so it all blends together. So I had the 3rd pick, and I wanted Brees in that one, but in a league full of Jet fans, you can imagine Brees went first overall, so couldn't get him. I ended up with Mike Williams, and I think I have the Jets. I either had their kicker or defense. I forget, though.
So I had their defense in my league, in actually both of my leagues. So I'm really excited about that. I'm pissed because if you know my friend freaking Chris Chamberlain, we're in a keeper league. The very last day at the 11th hour, knowing that I had been studying up on getting Garrett Wilson, decides to keep Garrett Wilson for a 6th-round pick. I lost my shit. I was so pissed off about that. That's my dude. I'm telling you, the offensive player of the year in the making.
I have Malachi Corley in that league.
Okay.
I mean, it's a 20-round draft, so it was pretty far down. Looking at the schedule here, just a couple other games I want to quickly hit on, and then we'll make our picks, and we'll wrap up another episode here of the Jake Asman Football Show. Curious your thoughts on Cowboys-Browns, because this is Brady's first game in the booth, but it's also, the return of Deshaun Watson in Cleveland. This line has been moving back and forth all throughout the week. The Browns are still a slight favorite over at BetUS Sportsbook right now. So you can make that bet on BetUS. And once again, if you're tuning in late, YouTube 150, take advantage of the 150% bonus with your first 3 deposits up to $2,000 with that code. But the Cowboys, to me, they've had so much drama surrounding them, right? But at the end of the day, this is still a team that's won 12 or more games 3 straight years. They're really good in the regular season. We'll get to the playoffs when we get there. But your thoughts on this matchup here? Because I think a lot of people are surprised that the Browns are still a slight favorite.
It's not that I think the Browns are a slight favorite. They have a great defense. And for my money, as long as I get average to maybe slightly above average play from Deshaun Watson, they're going to be competitive in 2024. My big thing is that I look at the quarterbacks, and ultimately when I'm stuck in a dilemma, I go with the guy who I believe is the better passer. And right now, far and away, it's Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott is the most hated quarterback in the history of the NFL for our livelihood, and I just don't get it. Yes, does he underwhelm in the postseason? Absolutely. Is he a reason why you even have a shot to get to the postseason? That is without a question. And also, you're getting back a healthy Trayvon Diggs. You also still have Micah Parsons coming off the edge. CeeDee Lamb is back in the building, so that's going to take pressure off of Brandon Cooks. He gets to be the number 2. Jake Ferguson is a sleeper pick for me in fantasy this year. I think that he is going to be immediately a must-have inside the red zone. And I know that the run game is feeble, but this is where you get to see actually Dak strut his stuff and prove why he is worth $275 million, why he's worth $300 million, why he can be the long-term answer. I actually think that Cleveland goes to the playoffs this year. I don't think Dallas does, but I will say that right now, I'm going to go ahead and take Dallas to win this one. I'm going to easily take that 1.5, that 1 point line.
Yeah, I mean, it's been moving all throughout the week. All right, I mentioned we would get to this game. You're based in Houston. Give people a feel for this Colts-Texans game here. Interesting matchup. Obviously, the Colts are at home here, so Houston's going on the road. Your thoughts?
I think that Houston this year is built to be a playoff team and a deep one. I think that when you look at the Jets and the Texans, those are 2 teams that probably have, I think, the most pieces in play to go toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes. Everything is there of what you want if you're D'Amico Ryans heading into year 2. And especially when you look at the history over the last few years when it comes to Houston, I mean, when it comes to quarterbacks in their second season, CJ Stroud looks like he will be able to hold his own and maybe even win an MVP. You have 3 talented pass catchers with Stephon Diggs. That's a relationship that has been brewing over all of offseason. I think that they're also really, really going to be attentive in keeping Tank Dell in the games. I love Dalton Schultz inside the red zone. That's absolutely one of those few players that can be a difference maker for you. And the run game is a better fit for Joe Mixon than it was for Dameon Pierce or for Devin Singletary. I do think that Houston will have some moments where it does feel like that they are overrated. They're not going to be a team that we talk about that probably gets to 12-4, 13-4, anything along those lines. They're probably 10-7, but it's so hard for me to trust right now anything with Anthony Richardson just because we haven't seen him play in 8 months. I think that Houston gets the 2.5 point line. I think if they win by 3, I think if they win by 4 points, they're going to go ahead and cover the spread. Close for the first half. I think they pull away in the second.
I'll tell you what, I just checked the latest odds, and it's actually 3 now. So at 3, that's a big difference than 2.5. I might take the Colts getting 3 and think it's a close game, but just wanted to let you know I just checked the latest odds over at BetUS. It's now up to 3.
I still take them with a 3. I think they'll win by at least 4.
There you go. All right. Final game to get into here, and it's our game of the week. The Jets at the 49ers, Monday Night Football. Now, this graphic was sent to me by my friends at BetUS before the show. The odds have now moved again. The Jets are now getting 4.5 points. And Cole, I know we're each going to make 3 picks. I'm just going to make one of mine right now. I do like the Jets getting 4.5 here. The Niners win, I wouldn't be surprised, but I think this game falls within a field goal. I think the Niners, you look at how great they are, statistically speaking, if you want a betting stat here, the team that loses in the Super Bowl is 5-19 against the spread in week 1 the following season. And take it a step further, the San Francisco 49ers are only 12-12 through the first 8 games of the season, just 5-6 at home. They're an NFL best 23-4 from games 9 through 17. So they're a great team, but they're not usually a great team early. So if there was ever an opportunity for the Jets to go in there and win, I think it's this one. They're healthy. The Niners are dealing with an injury right now to Christian McCaffrey. He was limited at practice yesterday. I think he'll play, but he's not going to be at 100%. They already said they got to protect McCaffrey from himself, so maybe he's on a pitch count. You know, you look at the state of the Niners, a little topsy-turvy with Trent Williams. What type of shape is he in? What type of shape is Brandon Ayuk in, right? I just think you look at the Jets, they're healthy. They're, to me, coming out with like a house money mentality. I like getting 4.5 points now in the most up-to-date line. So call me a homer, that's fine. But one of my 3 picks is the New York Jets getting the 4.5. I'm placing that bet over at BetUS. Once again, folks, code YouTube150 for that 150% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits. But Cole, I hand it over to you. Am I nuts for liking the Jets getting 4.5 points?
You are such a homer. It's ridiculous. Oh my God. I can't believe, I get it. I understand where you come from. I know that you want to watch the New York Jets set a standard in 2024 with their run game and their top ranked defense, but this is San Francisco we're talking about. They 100% have all the pieces to still be the best team in the NFC. You get back Trent Williams. Yes, you're going to have a pitch count against Christian McCaffrey, but you want to know what? You got to be able to watch what happens with Brock Purdy. He wants to get paid this offseason, so he's got to start delivering if he wants to be the X factor. They still have a stellar defense. They still have one of the best overall passing attacks in the NFL. But I think the Jets actually win outright. I think that they're going to win by 7 points. I think that they're going to absolutely own San Francisco in this game because everything that you said, the rust is going to be on them. I'm not trusting San Francisco at all week 1.
Wow. Niners. Not taking them, Cole.
Not taking the Niners. I'm taking the Jets straight up to win. I think if they win, I think if they've set a statement this week. Breece Hall, I need you to do well because you're on one of my fantasy teams. Garrett Wilson, I have money on you as one of the AP offensive players of the year. I got the Jets defense. I'm benching Brandon Ayuk on my fantasy squad this week simply because I know how good the Jets are going to be.
Let's go, baby. BetUS. It's 4.5 right now. I started the show. I checked the line. Boom. It's moving. So, look. It wouldn't shock me if the Niners win the game. I just think this game falls within a field goal, so I like the Jets. That's my first pick, Cole. Let's each give now. So we're going to do this every week that we have you on. We're going to give 3 picks each week. We'll keep track, and we got to come up with some sort of bet, for whoever wins, what they get out of this. But that said, I already gave one of my picks. I'm taking the Jets getting 4.5. Give your first pick. We'll go every other. We're each going to make 3 total.
Can you pull it up real fast again? Just that way, make sure. I'm easily hammering Arizona at -6. I get it. It's going to be one of those games where I feel like Buffalo pulls away late, but you got to look at what you've seen from this unit, especially last year. They're going to be healthy. I think the offensive line looks a lot better for Arizona. You get Kyler Murray, and you were winning games. You're playing close with Josh Dobbs. Now you have your quarterback, the guy that you're paying a lot of money. You give him a number 1 wide receiver. People are absolutely sleeping on Michael Wilson and what he provides on the outside. And I do have question marks when it comes to that second level of the defense for Buffalo. You got Josh Allen. So absolutely, Josh Allen is going to be the reason why Buffalo stays in games and will probably be a big reason why they're back in the playoffs. But I just feel like that they're winning on a game-winning field goal with the time expiring. I'm going to take that 6.5 line in favor of Arizona.
So it is now 6.5 at BetUS Sportsbook. These odds are changing as we speak. So
either way, hammer that 6.5 point line. I'm taking Arizona. I feel even better about Arizona now.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said anything, but I'm just an upstanding guy. So we're giving you the half point there. So you're going Arizona plus 6.5 against the Bills. All right, my next game here. I already gave you the Jets, so this is my second pick. I like the Giants, as crazy as that sounds. I am not a Sam Darnold believer. The Giants are at home. I think that the ghosts of Sam Darnold are going to reappear at MetLife. You might see them again. The Giants, to me, they have an underrated defense. I love the Brian Burns edition. I just think they have some pride. I think the Giants go out there. Everyone's saying they're going to be the worst team in the NFL, which I don't buy. They won 6 games last year without a damn quarterback, with 3 different ones due to the injuries. I think their O-line is better. I just don't love this Vikings team. I don't. I think, people are talking about them still being in the mix in that division with Darnold. I don't know. I don't see it. I think the Giants play inspired ball. I think they win a tight one at home. The latest line I'm seeing at BetUS is +1. So I'll take the point. I think the Giants win outright. Giants, my second pick here on the Jake Asman Football Show.
Great defense, terrible offense. I don't know what to make of Sam Darnold. Honestly, I just waved the white flag on this season. If I'm Minnesota, I can't buy into the Darnold hype. Even JJ McCarthy, I thought was going to be a reach for anything over 8 wins. Now, honestly, when we talk about it, you said the Giants might be getting that number 1 pick. I don't think Minnesota will, but I definitely think that they'll be picking somewhere inside the top 10.
I know that's not one of your picks necessarily, but if you were to make a pick, who would you take?
Oh, I'm easily agreeing with you. I'm taking the Giants in this one. I think they win out, right?
All right, give us your second of 3 picks, Cole.
Give me Chicago at home in the opener against Tennessee -4, or if the line is at -4, if it hasn't moved to 4.5. Here's the thing. I believe
let's get the latest up-to-date line of that. I got you. You like the Bears. Latest up-to-date. We're going to make sure we do this as official as we can on this show, baby. We have integrity. Bears 3.5.
Okay. Even still, I'm going to take them. I think that when you look at what Tennessee is, they overall are going to be more competitive. This is a team that absolutely is going to go back and forth with other opponents. They're going to make sure that they are at least staying in matchups. But Chicago had a great defense last year with an anemic quarterback that wasn't able to get a lot done. I absolutely believe that Caleb Williams at this point is the right upgrade. He can make throws outside the wazoo that just absolutely are jaw-dropping. Even if you don't have a fully healthy Keenan Allen, Romadinze, you still have DJ Moore. I think the run game is going to be fine. Their defense got better. They have one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL in Jalen Johnson. I think that their secondary looks a lot better with the addition of Kevin Byard. And even though I do believe that Tennessee is going to be one of those teams that probably overhits when it comes to their win total, it's not going to be in the Windy City. Go ahead and give me Caleb Williams to start off a new era of Chicago Bears football with a dub.
That is Cole's second pick. My third and final pick that I like on the week 1 slate. Give me the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Atlanta Falcons. I don't know how Mike Tomlin does this every year, but somehow he wins games, and I'm getting 4 points against a Falcons team that has a lot of new pieces they're trying to mix in, new quarterback. I just could see this game coming down to the end. I know the graphic says 3. The line has since moved to now 4 on BetUS Sportsbook. So Steelers +4, Cole. I'll take the points. I think it's a tight game. If Atlanta wins, I'm not surprised, but I'm basically taking the better coach in the game, and he's getting 4 points and has so much time to prepare. So I like Mike Tomlin and the Steelers getting 4 points against the Falcons as my third and final pick.
Listen, the better coach, absolutely right. Better quarterback, we have no idea who's playing, but either way, I would still take Kirk Cousins. I also believe that Atlanta at this point, they're a team that was probably looking at 10+ wins. Without a doubt, I am taking Atlanta to win this game. I'm sorry, Jake. Even though they have a good defense, even though they have a guy that doesn't know what the meaning of underrated or below 500 means, not a chance does Atlanta lose this game, in my opinion.
All right, Cole, your final pick for week 1 of the season.
Oh, this one's easy for me. People still want to doubt him, but I believe in him. Go ahead and give me Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers -3 over Washington. It's the new era out in D.C. Jaden Daniels, I feel like, can be that quarterback that can easily bring this franchise back to glory, similar to what we saw in years past with Robert Griffin before the injury. What I just look at is still a solid defensive front. You like their secondary out in Tampa. You like their linebacking core. They still have one of the best nose tackles in the game with Vita Vea. Their offensive line, I think, is stable. I also like that you have 3 quality wide receivers, and you got another guy by the name of Jalen McMillan. Folks, if you remember Puka Nacua last year and how he was utilized in that offense out in LA, think of that with Jalen McMillan out in Tampa. I think that Baker Mayfield is going to keep things interesting. I have the Bucs as a playoff team. They're going to win this game by a touchdown. Go ahead and give me the Bucs to go ahead and close out my list.
All right, let's check the latest line on this one to see where it's at, because I'm telling you, folks, the money's moving over at BetUS. It's now 3.5. So does that change your pick at all? Bucs are now laying 3.5 in this game against the Commies.
Give me a touchdown over the Commies. Sorry, but I actually love America. And you know what loves America? Money lines. And the Buccaneers are my money line of the week.
All right, there you go. 3.5. So Cole's 3 picks for week 1 that he likes the best. Titans at Bears. He likes the Bears laying the 3.5. Cardinals at Bills. He's taking the Cardinals getting 6.5 points. Washington at Tampa. You just heard him say it. He likes Tampa to cover that 3.5 number. My 3 picks I like. Jets plus 4.5 on Monday Night Football. Minnesota at the Giants. Give me the Giants getting a point. I think they win the game outright. Steelers plus 4 at the Falcons. I'm taking the points with the Pittsburgh Steelers. We each made 3 picks. We're going to keep track throughout the season. It's a football Friday, and Cole Thompson has been nice enough to join us. Before we get out of here, a super chat for my buddy Tony, who's in the Jake Asman Fantasy League. Jake, in our Beat Jake Asman Fantasy League, I'm the one who took Wilson Rogers combo. Cole, thoughts? Jake, we play week 5. Side bet. Tony will come up with a side bet. I did see you got the Wilson Rogers combo. I'll tell you what, I'm jealous. Last year I had Aaron Rodgers and he played 4 snaps, so I stayed away this year because I don't want to be the reason why. So, Cole, your thoughts on the Rodgers to Wilson combo in fantasy?
You keep Aaron Rodgers healthy, I think that you have a top 2 wide receiver in fantasy this year. What you saw last season out in Big D with CeeDee Lamb, I think that's exactly what you're going to see up in the Big Apple. I love this pick. I love the addition for you, Tony. Me personally, I think that this is going to be a year of where you're watching Garrett Wilson actually prove it. He's had 2 back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons with Dingus and Dunghead as his quarterbacks. Watch what happens when you get him a 4-time MVP who may not longer be the same version he was out in Green Bay, but is good enough to stabilize an offense and move the ball forward. I think he's getting over 1,000 yards. I think he's hitting over 1,500 yards. I think he's going to finish top 5 in receiving touchdowns this year, and I also think that he's top 10 in catches. So I love this for you, Tony. If you end up winning in week 5, just remember Cole Thompson was the one that told you made the right call. So whatever you get in the side bet victory, just make sure that you go with me a little bit at Mr. Cole Thompson.
Cole, great job. Looking forward to doing more of these. Football's back, and this gives us an excuse to hang out every Friday, which is awesome.
Absolutely. See, this is why I do it, people. It's not. I love Jets Nation. I love the folks. But I get to hang out with Jake Asman on Fridays. That is the ultimate deal.
This isn't a Jet show, Cole. This is the entire NFL, baby. We're covering it all.
We're covering it all, and that's exactly why we're doing it. Because if you had to bring me on, because I know everything, and I'm gonna walk away a $1 million winner. By the way, Hawaiian shirt will be back next Friday. I didn't have time to change. Hawaiian Friday is not going anywhere.
It better be. Shout out to BetUS for being our presenting sponsor. Once again, they're offering some awesome bonus perks if you want to sign up and start betting with their site. You get a 150% bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000 with code YouTube50. Thank you again to BetUS for sponsoring the show. He's Cole Thompson. My name is Jake Asman. I hope everybody enjoys the games this weekend. We'll be back next week to talk about the biggest storylines in the NFL. Enjoy a little Eagles and Packers in Brazil tonight. Whoa, baby. All right. He's Cole. I'm Jake. Have a good one, everybody. Enjoy your football weekend because it's finally back.
This video is brought to you by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino.